The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.
Welcome back to the UAB Director's Chair. He's the athletic director for your UAB Blazers. It is game week. First game's going off this Saturday as we broadcast live here. We do this on our YouTube channel, but also, of course, wherever you get your favorite podcast. So you can listen to it live on Tony Curry Radio, not to mention our YouTube channel, and, of course, wherever you get your podcast. Well, we're all over the place. And, of course, I cannot believe that college football starts this Saturday. Where are you at as an athletic director? And, of course, your first game going on next week, my man.
Yeah, our first game is next Thursday, and yeah, we're ready. We're excited. We've been doing a lot of prep work down at the stadium, down at Protective Stadium. You know, the band's been down there doing rehearsals. Our marketing team down there doing rehearsals with video and making sure that that they all know how to run the scoreboard. You get new staff, that kind of thing, and so you're down there kind of having kind of walkthroughs, dry runs and practice runs about when to play music and when not. You think that that's not a big deal, but like when it's coming at you, you want to be ready. You can't just learn on the fly during the first game. So you want the best of your ability to simulate that in advance. So we've been doing that kind of thing. And the Protective Stadium even did like a menu tasting for suite holders. So we've done that. That was really well received. And so, that kind of pregame stuff as far as an administrative staff goes, and trying to make sure we've got all the parking organized and, getting tickets out and parking passes out to everybody. One of the funny things that we do, and this is really everywhere that I've worked, we will wait and send tickets and parking out until about 2 weeks before the first game. And it makes people really nervous. And they all start to panic. And you start to get these calls. I haven't gotten my tickets. What is going on? You're like, well, we haven't mailed them, sir. Oh, why not? And we go, because we're afraid you'll lose them. It's amazing how many people, Tony, take their tickets or their parking pass. And of course, now we do so many things through mobile delivery.
Yeah.
But they like put it in a drawer. I'll put these in this drawer. This will be a good spot. This will be a good spot. I'm gonna put it right here. And then they forget. They totally forget what they do. They know they got them, and they're like, then they can't find them. We're reprinting. So anyway, we found that if we wait a little bit longer, we have fewer reprints.
Making us fans feel more responsible for ourselves. I love that.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. I like the idea, particularly since, of course, Trent Dilfer's going into his third season. I like the idea of playing a team like Alabama State, with all due respect, a team that UAB should beat. I know a lot of teams like Notre Dame and Alabama, they like to play in the Chick-fil-A Bowls and play these big ball games.
Yeah.
Texas, Ohio State, going to be a monster game, and that's great for fans as well. What's your thoughts on starting the season off against a team that you should beat, as opposed to maybe a non-conference game? I know you got Tennessee coming up in game 4. That's obviously not something you want to start the season with, but just kind of feel the temperature of the water a little bit. See how tepid it is first before you jump into conference play.
Well, we're not playing Alabama State because we think we can beat them. I mean, we certainly hope that we can. Those guys put their pants on the same way we do and get up and practice and train the same way we do, and they have good coaches too. And but our hope is we're allowed to play one FCS game and it count towards bowl eligibility, and so we play one. And the beauty of playing it the first week usually means that we can play this Thursday night. So it's really about playing Thursday night. If we can play Thursday night, and we won't always be able to do that, but we've been able to do it, since we reinstated football, we have. I don't think we did the first year, but since then. And the beauty in it is that you're not competing for any other college games, not usually on that first week. You get in front of that first Saturday that has all the matchups that you're talking about that have been kind of engineered together. And look, we would play in one of those if we were invited.
Yeah.
But it also gets in front of Labor Day. So you have this Labor Day holiday, and I guess every, state or community has their thing to do. But whether it's go one more trip to your lake place or to the lake, or one more trip to the beach for people that do those things with frequency, you're getting in front of those other games, and you're getting in front of that holiday weekend. So that's why we do it. And then to accommodate that, an FCS team is who usually can accommodate that more easily than a team than an FBS team. So that's really the reason.
And it should be that it sounds like it's a win all around. Hopefully,
Well, and the
it'll
other
be on the
great thing,
over.
look, man, Alabama State and Alabama A&M, their crowds are awesome. And they,
Mhm.
you know, because they play the Magic City Classic here in Birmingham, first of all, they have a ton of fans in Birmingham. So there's a great network of people that want to see their team that live here. And then people that are traveling from out of town because they've been coming here for the Classic every year. They're not intimidated. You know, they know where they stay. They know where they know how to get places. They, even though I know they don't play at Protective, but nonetheless, they're familiar. They're familiar
Yep.
with the area. They're not, you know, they're not going into it with any anxiety about, oh, gee, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to. They know where they're going, and so we usually have a great crowd from their fan base too, which is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. UABsports.com for everything that is UAB Go Blazers. He is the athletic director for the UAB Blazers. Mark Ingram joins us here. It is game week. Can't believe it's finally here. It's going to start cooling off next Tuesday. It's supposed to be in the 80s. I mean, it's just perfect. I mean, how
Yeah,
perfect is that? It's going to be awesome. And of course, your game's coming up on that Thursday night against Alabama State. Um,
yeah,
how long have you been athletic director?
11 years.
Have you ever been through a summer like you just went through?
You talking about the Heat?
No, just you personally with the NCAA stuff going on, the
Oh,
NIL, and with all the transfer portal. It's been unlike any. People are like, "How's your summer going?" I said, I really don't. It seems like it's been a really long summer, but it's been a really
yeah.
short summer. The days are short, but the year is long. I don't know. It just feels like a really odd summer going into college football season, and quite frankly, it feels like football season's here earlier than it probably should be.
Yeah.
What's it
I
been
would
like for
just say
you?
that it's the most unusual time in college athletics. And I mean that's been said before, but I think it's the most unusual time in college athletics. Maybe the better word is unique, but it is unique, but it's unusual. I mean, the just this the transfer rules and the ability for kids to move around every single semester. I mean, if you're a football player, you know, people don't transfer in basketball in the mid year, really. I mean, if they do, they can't play because you're in the middle of the season and there's usually not a spot on the roster and that kind of thing. But if you're a fall sport, volleyball, football, men's or women's soccer, um, you in theory, you could be at 10 different schools in 5 years.
Yeah,
You could be at a different school every single semester and it be permissible, and you could play immediately with no what they call, you know, stay in residency. And that's not good. That's not good for the teams. It's not good for the coaches. It's not good for the student athletes. Even though people want to kind of act like it's good for the student athletes, it's not. You know, Dr. Watts the other day spoke to our athletic department staff. We had an all staff meeting. We do that once a month. And he said, you know, athletics is a metaphor for life, and it teaches teamwork and discipline, and it requires patience, and it requires hard work, and all these things. And we're those life lessons that college athletics has really helped to teach forever is now struggling to teach
yeah,
because if things aren't good, just get in the transfer portal and go somewhere else. Well, you can't just do that in life. You can't just quit your job. You can't
yeah,
just quit your job and go somewhere else. I mean, you can find another job, but you can't just emotionally walk out the door and go, I'm done, because you got bills to pay. You might have a family to feed. And so they're counting on you. And so I don't like the fact that we've lost that. And I think that it weakens our future leaders. You know, it taught us it helped us. We were sort of breeding these global leaders and civic leaders. And so I think it's really made that a challenge.
yeah. Probably more so. Well, certainly more so in the pros than in the college ranks. You rest players, and I saw something really interesting for my Cincinnati Bengals this past week. Zach Taylor is 1-11 in weeks 1 and 2 with the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 1-7 their last 2 years in games 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Or they're actually games 1 through 3. They're
Yeah.
1-7, so they get off to a very slow start. Normally, you don't have your professional guys going out there playing 5 or 6 different series. Although you saw Joe Burrow play in 3 series this past week, they're like, you know what? If we're getting off slow, maybe our players need to start playing a little bit more. I see that Josh Allen's not going to be playing at all in the preseason for the first time in his career. Of course,
Yeah.
he's the reigning MVP. I know they want to protect him, but I wanted to talk to you as not only as an athletic director, but more as a player when you were up in Tennessee and stuff. How difficult is it for a guy who obviously, I mean, when you talk about the Micah Parsons and the Hendricksons and the guys that obviously are all pro, they
Yeah.
do have a switch. They can turn it on. They know what's going on. They're super smart football players. And I would like to think that Joe Burrow is too, but I mean, the numbers don't lie. 1-7 in weeks 1 and 2 the last 2 years is not good. And
But
then
I
you're
think two
missing.
years ago he was hurt, wasn't he?
It was, and then you're missing the playoffs, by
Yeah.
one game of the last 2 years. So we know it's a game of inches. But I just wanted, from a player standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, how difficult is it to get back in there and just feel the rush, feel the adrenaline? It seems like most of the guys that do play are happy to get back in there. They want to feel
Oh
it,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes I think when you try to restrain or keep yourself from getting injuries, I think sometimes that's the best time to get one.
Yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees that it's a very physical sport, right? Um, if I were to just walk up to you on an ordinary Tuesday and just punch you as hard as I could in the arm,
Hmm.
that's going to hurt, and you're going to feel that for a day or two. In football, you're getting that several times a play. Like people are just banging into you, hitting you, scratching you, slapping you, swatting you, whatever, constantly during the course of the game. You become desensitized to that. There's this desensitization that you can only get from the physicality. If you watch wrestlers, part of their warm up is rolling around on the mat. You go, what are
Hmm.
they doing? Well, they're rolling around on the mat because you're kind of desensitizing your body to how that feels so that it's not, when you fall, it doesn't feel weird. Like, I told my wife the other night, we were watching that same Cincinnati game you're talking about, and she made some comment about falling down or whatever. And I said, like, you don't even know it. Like, when you're playing, once you get into the rhythm of playing, falling down, not only does it not hurt, sometimes it's the best thing to do.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
could be a moment where, to stop yourself, you're just better to just fall down and just roll. And you don't think anything of that. But you've never done that going to the car, you
No.
know. And so for the rest of us, we have a hard time getting that. But that's a big part of the preseason is you need to get slapped around a little bit. Not a
Yeah.
lot. Look, obviously, I get what the Bills are doing with Josh Allen. They don't need that guy to get hurt, but Josh could probably use a little bit of head banging. He needs to roll around a little bit. You'll see before a game, a lot of times, offensive defensive linemen will get down on all fours and they'll kind of bang into each other and they'll hit their shoulders against each other.
Hmm.
And it's just to get the feel of that kind of, what
Yeah.
is that? So that they're not the first time it doesn't feel strange. It's
Yeah.
hard to explain other than just to say it's real.
No, and I knew that from a player standpoint, you know the answer there, and I think as a fan standpoint, we just want our teams to play really well, and they come out, and if you're playing preseason games, we've already cut one of those off. We've added one to the regular season, which I absolutely love. All right, last classic rock thing we're going to talk about here because come football season, we're all football, bro. Unless
Okay.
something happens, someone dies or something like that. But last week, David Lee Roth was at a show. He was playing Dance the Night Away, and he was going into this diatribe about Eddie Van Halen. So evidently, Eddie Van Halen appeared to Sammy Hagar in a dream about 3 years ago and gave Sammy a song to write. And so Sammy just released that song last week
Okay.
and played it at a show and said this song is for Eddie Van Halen. He wrote the lyrics. He showed me the licks. It's all him. I had it in a dream, and here it is. So David Lee Roth said, "Guess who appeared in a dream to me the other night? My good friend Eddie Van Halen." So
Okay.
after they both enjoyed a ghost cigarette, that they had a nice conversation, which I will not repeat because he drops a lot of f bombs. This particular thing. But he said something like the point, I still want you to go to hell, David Lee Roth. And David said, well, just make sure you save me a seat. And of course, the crowd laughed, and it was kind of funny. Obviously, a little bit of a poke at Sammy Hagar. I want you to name one dead rocker that you would love to see come back as a ghost, just so you can see them play one last time.
Well, you just named him. But Sammy Hagar, look, all these artists are unique, right? They're eclectic. Uh, you, you know, the song Love Walks In is about this alien experience that he allegedly had.
Hmm.
Do you know that?
Yeah. Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
do.
So that,
Yeah.
look, man, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's a little weird. And um, maybe I'm not again. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I haven't heard that song. I'd like to hear the song now. Now you got me
Yeah,
curious.
I think it's called Encore Backstage or something like that. It's a weird title to a song, but he just released it
Okay.
last week. And
Well,
he had Joe Satriani on it, and he had Michael Anthony. He had all the whole group on it on the song, so you can find it. Um,
him and Dave, as you might guess, haven't ever gotten along. There's been this constant jealousy between the two, who's better, which of our bands was more successful and better, and why, and whatever. And I guess the sales numbers would answer that question, and I don't even know what that is. But forever, I used to tell my friends, like as a child, when they broke up and David left and Sammy walked in. Initially, for a long time, I kind of like hated Sammy, like he ran him off, and then I kind of one day realized they're really just two separate bands.
sure.
When you start going, well, which one was better?
Yeah.
They're really two separate groups. They just have the same name, but they're two
Mhm.
separate groups. And once I got, you know, emotionally around that idea, I was able to like the new look Van Halen, and I like them a lot. I like a lot of their music. Yeah, I'd love to see. There's a ton of them, right? Wouldn't you love to see Jimi Hendrix or?
No,
Uh, yeah, I would. I never saw Eddie live, so I'd love to see that. And oh my gosh, we could go down a list of
I never
people.
saw it either. I never saw him. I never saw him play live.
Wouldn't
That,
you love to? I would love to have seen Leonard Skinner live before they had that
like
plan.
the band, yeah,
The original.
yeah. Although if you go see them now and you close your eyes, you would not know the difference. I mean,
I've
they're
heard
that
that.
good.
I've heard that, and I really did not care for them as a young man. It's only been within the last 5 or 10 years that I really started to like them, and I think what it is I saw like an autobiography or something um, about them, and it was really great.
By the
It
way,
was.
there's a new Billy Joel documentary out. You can find everywhere that everyone keeps telling me. As a matter of fact, I was up at Fox 6 this morning. They're like, "Have you seen the Billy Joel documentary?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "You've got to see it." So I just
Oh,
thought
okay.
I thought I'd share that with you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
when you
Yeah,
get
I love Billy Joel. I'd love to
some
find that too.
so good stuff. All right, my man. We'll catch up next week. You good to go next week?
Oh yeah,
Because I mean, it's gonna be Thursday. It's gonna be game day.
it'll be Thursday.
You
I
gonna go
got you
fired up?
down.
Okay. All right. I'll be ready to go next week. We'll get after it. UABsports.com. Get your tickets. UABsports.com. Check out all your tickets. And of course, get ready to go down to Protective coming up. I will certainly be there next Thursday. I cannot believe it's already here. I'm super excited. I got goosebumps the size of my head all over my arms. It's going to be great. And I appreciate your time every single week, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.